program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca, and welcome to another powerful episode of Daily with Doc. As I am your host, Becca Dukes, certified naturopathic practitioner, certified holistic health coach, and the director of student services for the Institute of Holistic Health. I am so glad that you are here with us today, because today the conversation is going to be a little deeper into what I had last week when we were talking about Tangy, Tangerine, and a Healthy Body Start Pack. Today, we have the amazing Dr. Dirt, one of the formulators of our products, Richard Renton, as he is going to go even beyond the Healthy Body Start Pack and helping us choose the right start pack for us and our clients. So I hope you are ready to take notes, because you are in for a treat, as he's going to be going deeper into what makes each pack and how to choose which one is right for you and make it personalized. So help me welcome to the screen Richard Renton. And folks, if you were invited by somebody specific, make sure that you get back with them, as this is a resource for an amazing community, and we want to keep that community's integrity, as this program is sponsored by dailywithdoc.com. But if you were referred to this program by somebody specific, they are the person for you to get back to. So Richard, hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. You're just such a wealth of knowledge, and help us figure out what's going to be the best pack for us and our clients. So no more guessing, no more chasing symptoms. Let's start building with intention. Take it away.
So hello, everybody. It's great to be on the show again, and I always enjoy spending my time with you guys. Always have good questions at the end and whatnot. It makes it enjoyable for me especially. So probably, I'm going to guess, 25 years ago, since we're 30 now, we started to get the comments from our business people that it's hard to get people involved because we have too many products, and that, you know, it became a challenge because they were trying to learn the ingredients of all of them. And now I think there's like a 2,000 or something like that. It's kind of ridiculous on the numbers, with the spices and the sauces and the makeup and everything else that's involved with what we have. And so I and another distributor came up with a simplistic plan that if you can learn 5 things or 6 things, it would take care of 90% of the challenges. And so that's what we're going to really go over to what we start with. And so one of the things that I want to do is I'm going to share this really quickly with you, is that I came up with this idea. Hopefully you can see it. It's a sunflower. And the idea is that the center of the flower is the nutritional products that you need on a daily basis. And we call it 90 for life. And if you've been around Dr. Wallach for a while, you've heard him speak about 90 essential nutrients. And those 90 essential nutrients, of course, is 12 vitamins, 16 amino acids, 2 essential fatty acids, and then 60, that's 60 minerals. And if you add that up, it comes up to 90. You know, in my mind, it's probably over 100 now, because there's certain phytonutrients I consider essential. But the definition that makes it essential is that your body requires it, but your body can't make it. So you have to take it in one way or another. You can take it in through injections if you want. You can take it in through a good diet if you want. You can take it through a supplement if you want. And that's the angle we do. And so if you look at this diagram here, and I'm not going to leave it up there for much longer, it basically has the 90 essential nutrients. And depending on your health condition or your health challenge, you may want to add an additional item or two to the 90 to specialize it to your program. And so you see where we have Rebound there, we have Osteo-fx, we have selenium, glucogel, and much, much more. And so if we do that, we start talking about the Healthy Start Paks. And so if you look at the first one, the Healthy Start Pak, there's 7 different versions to it, about maybe even 8. And really quickly, they're all basically the same. They include a multivitamin, they include an essential fatty acid, and they include an osteo product, a calcium supplement. Now, you can get the multivitamin in powder, you can get the multivitamin in liquid, you can get the multivitamin in tablets. You can get the osteo in liquid, you can get the osteo in tablets. And so if you mix all those up, there's lots of them there. It just all depends on what your people want. But the things that you need to know is that the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, or the multivitamin, contains most of the 90. The only thing it really doesn't contain is sufficient amounts of calcium, as well as sufficient amount of essential fatty acids. For some reason, I've never been able to mask the flavor of fish or seafood oil in a product to make it taste good. I've just never been able to do that. I remember when I was young and I had to take cod liver oil, right? But you know, you kind of get used to it, and that's fine. But I can tell you that Michelle Wallach has always given her kids either Tangy Tangerine liquid or Super Life Ultra Body Toddy or Ultimate Classic. And they don't consider it strange tasting because they've had it literally since they stopped nursing. And most flavors are learned. And so if, you know, I always have fun with this. I gave my grandkids lemons to chew on when they were young, and I would keep a completely straight face to see what the reaction was. But they would pucker up when they take it because it would shock them, but then they would start eating it. It's a learned response. And so that's true on almost all our products. And so you can imagine picking all those up, and that's the core. And so what we need to do now is, once we understand a Healthy Start Pak is the core, then what are all the little add-ons that we can do that make sense? And so let's kind of go over these. And when I have a new person, this is what I have them start on. Learn the Healthy Start Pak, plus these 4 additional packs and what they are for. And what if you learn that, then 90% of your job is done, right? So the first one we're going to talk about is anything, if a person complains to you that they have hard tissue damage, bone, arthritis, tendonitis, fibromyalgia, any of those hard tissue problems, then you take what's called the Healthy Bone and Joint Pak. And what that is the Healthy Start Pak plus glucogel and CM cream. So we've taken the core 90, and then we added 2 of those petals that were on that flower onto it. And that's for any hard tissue challenge. Then the second most common one you're going to do is someone has a problem with an organ, whether it's their liver, whether it's their kidney, whether it's their brain, whether it's their heart, whether it's their lungs, any of the organs within your body, pancreas, we can keep listing. Then you take the Healthy Brain and Heart Pak. Now, we could have called it the Healthy Brain, Heart, Liver, Lung, whatever, but it just gets a little crazy. So we just chopped it at Brain and Heart Pak. And what Dr. Wallach made in a point is that you could, quite often you will need a large amount of essential fatty acids. You could use up to 9 grams plus a day, depending on your body mass and your situation. So what he does is he has the Healthy Start Pak, which has a 90 count EFA in it, has the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in it, and then it has the Osteo-fx, and he adds another bottle of Ultimate EFA in the 180 count. So if you take 90 and 180, that comes to 270, divided by 30, poof, there's 9, right? So there's 9 grams of that, along with Ultimate Selenium, because he did a bunch of research 40 years ago on the prevention of certain cancers and cardiovascular disease with Ultimate Selenium, and was published on it and actually helped get a health claim through the FDA on the benefits of EFAs and on the benefits of selenium to help prevent certain diseases within your body. And so that became the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. The third one I want to talk to is if anything has anything to do with blood sugars. If you have any thyroid problems, if you have any pancreas problems, if you have trouble controlling your blood sugar, your weight bounces around a lot, you weigh too much, healthy blood sugar pack is probably what you want to do, which is the Healthy Start Pack plus Sweeties. And if you add that one thing on, and it will, in most cases, a lot of those cases, help, may not totally prevent or cure you, because we can't use that word, but it could make you significantly better in those particular challenges. Now, the one thing that people always come to me first and they say, well, Richard, I have joint problems, but I also have blood sugar problems. My heart's not as good as it should be. What do I do then? In other words, they have 3 categories or 2 categories wrong that we've already talked about, whether it's hard tissue, soft tissue, or blood sugar. And then I tell them they need to take the Healthy Digestive Pack, because what that tells me is that their gut isn't healthy. And when your gut is not healthy, you're not absorbing all the nutritional products or even good food. And you might have irritable bowel syndrome and all the other challenges that goes around with that. And so the first thing we need to do is to get your gut healthy. And so the 4th pack is called the Healthy Digestive Pack. And that one has the Healthy Start Pack plus digestive enzymes plus flora. Now, if someone's extreme, in other words, their gut's just in terrible shape, sometimes I'll just have them take Nightly Essence, Flora FX, I-26, and enzymes for the first month, just to get their gut healthier, and then move them over to a Healthy Digestive Pack, because the odds of them absorbing a lot of the ingredients on Beyond Tangy Tangerine is little to none. And so we have to really get their gut healthy. In fact, I'll tell you, I probably sign up, I'm not bragging, but 15 to 20 people a month. And of that number, I guarantee that 75% of them are starting on the Healthy Digestive Pack. It's just I've just made it a habit, figuring that most people have a crummy gut, especially when they live here in the States, because our diet's terrible. I explained to them my philosophy of eating food that's on the outside of the grocery chain, because that's where you're going to find the fresh produce. That's where you're going to find everything that isn't highly processed. The highly processed food's in the middle, and I'm totally against that. I think it's much healthier for you to do that. And I remind everybody that these are dietary supplements. They are not designed to replace a good meal. We're not trying to make you on a spaceship where all you have to do is eat pills, right? And so we want you to eat a good diet. We want you to eat good fruits and vegetables. We want you to eat good protein. We want you to eat good carbohydrates and things like that. And we want you to do those things, but we want you to supplement to make sure that it's going on. Well, I can tell you, I don't think I find too many people that eat as clean as my Karen does. And I can say I don't, right? She's almost a vegan. She eats eggs because she wants to keep the protein up, but she pretty much makes her meals every day. And if we go to the store, she always has me read the labels, and pretty much if it has more than 3 ingredients, she doesn't want it, because it's usually that 4th ingredient to the 25th ingredient that you really don't need in your body. Those chemicals you really don't need, you know, and you don't really see a supplement fact panel on a head of lettuce or some radishes or peppers or whatnot. You don't see it there because there's one ingredient, right? And so we want to encourage that. Now, does she wash her vegetables when she brings them home and stores them correctly? Yes, 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 so she can prolong the life. Do we try to eat fruits and vegetables that are in season in this area mostly? Yes, it's getting a little bit hard to do because the winter vegetables are dying off and the spring vegetables haven't really shown up yet because we're in the state of Washington. But you know, we try to get as the vegetables as close to our home as we can because in theory they're on the plant longer and maintain greater amounts of fruits and vegetables, and that's really important. Now, there's some additional things that you could take that we have packs for that I didn't cover. Healthy athletic pack. You can do that for kids that are in sports. Grandson's playing baseball, and basically it adds glucogel and Rebound to their diet to help them recover after their mighty 90, and that they seem to be abusive to their joints anyways. I also might encourage they take vitamin D because vitamin D helps that bone structure, especially as they're growing up. And so those types of things. Can we take, you know, Rebound? Absolutely can. And I'm 71. At least I'll be 71 in about 3 weeks. I'm 71. And so, and anywhere in between us, I went and watched my grandson play baseball the other day. And it was fun. I actually had to watch part of it on Zoom because I was on a call. But, you know, he's a catcher just like I was. And I hope that he enjoys the game. But I hope he takes care of his body more because what he can learn from his grandfather is that you can always have dreams and you can have the skills to make the pro. But one thing goes wrong and everything changes. Now, do I regret that? No, I don't, because I've had the honor of being involved with Youngevity and designing products for Youngevity. And when I go out on the road and speak and teach, I get people that hug me and say that I've improved the quality of their life. And, you know, I could be a baseball player and have all the glory. And I was drafted to play in the 3rd round in the National Baseball League. Uh, could I would I have been happy being a baseball player? Yes, but how rewarding is it to help people improve the quality of life and to get to know all of you, really get to know all of you and be part of it. And so some of the things that I want to also mention, so those are the things I try to get people to learn right off the bat. And I'm old fashioned, you'll laugh at me. I actually have conditions and a 3x5 card, and I write down what products work best on that 3 and 5 card because I don't have them all memorized. But I do tell you that it's on the other side of my screen, just on my wall there. I have a huge resources of books. And the books that are right in the middle is Let's Play Doctor and Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And if you don't have those books, you're going to make your job a lot harder. So I'm going to plug those books really hard. They're basically Doc's recipes for all his formulas. Now, when you go into those, you may find things and you go, well, where are those in the Youngevity products? And they're not, because when he wrote that book, those books, he was still an ND, still is an ND now. And there are products that an ND can prescribe, but we can't put them in nutritional products. And so every once in a while, you'll find something off the wall on all that. And you're more than welcome to give me a call or send me an email at Richard@Youngevity, and I can help you with that. You can look at that. But there's lots of other books that I'll use. And one of my favorites is Prescription for Natural Cures, because they basically kind of have a doc thing in them that's kind of like good, better, best. And if it says that it's an extremely important item, 9 times out of 10, doc says the same thing, but it's an easy reference that you can do. If you don't have 2 out of those 3 books, then you're probably not really serious about doing this as a business, because I would say the majority of my customers are product users first, business users after the products improve themselves. The best business person I have out there is a business person that's tried the products have changed their life, and they're not bashful to tell people that. And if you're not bashful to tell that, but if you never take the product in the first place, then you remind me of a car salesman. That's harsh, isn't it? But how can you recommend something if you don't know what it's going to do or how it's going to work? And so let's keep this simple. The other key thing in building your business is that I think it's really important to have a partner, whether it's your spouse or whether it's a friend down the door, that you both want to represent the product line, because then you can learn different things. But then when someone wants to learn what selenium does for you, if you're not sure, I can reach out to Becca and say, hey, Becca, would you mind doing a 3-way call with me? Because I'm not sure the right answer on that. And I can tell you, Becca's quite often called me or talked to me and says, I have a customer that said this, and I'm not sure, how should I answer it? And we're able to bounce ideas off each other. And when you do that and you reinforce it with the person, did you sign anybody up today? Did you talk to a customer? Did you tell anybody about Youngevity today? Because that's really the first step. Did you tell anybody about Youngevity today? I really shouldn't say how many people I signed up. I should probably tell you how many people I talk about Youngevity in a day. And I probably talk to 5 to 10 people about Youngevity every day. Now, in my position, I should hope I do. I don't expect you guys do. But if you don't strike up a conversation with someone every day, then you're never gonna grow this as a business that can supply you with an income that you're happy with. Whether you want that $100 check, whether you want that $300 check, or whether you want that $1,000 check, you still got to talk to people about Youngevity, and if you got to learn the basics, the 90 for life, to get them started with that and understand why. Now, a lot of people, going to take a sip here. A lot of people ask, it's so expensive. Why is it expensive? And it kind of tells me that they really haven't gone in and looked at nutritional products on the shelf today. Because if you were to take our products and downloaded the supplement fact panel on a piece of paper and go walking into the store and you start adding everything together in the cart that you would need to equal what's in Beyond Tangy Tangerine, I can tell you you're going to be spending well over $100. And that's not including EFAs, that's not including calcium products, that's not including all the other stuff. Because if you look at the value, our value is exceptional. I haven't found really any decent combination that doesn't do it for twice the amount. But then sometimes I run into that individual that's on a tight budget. And then I always get calls on, what can we do just to get by? And then when things are a little bit better, the cost of food goes down a little bit, or when gasoline goes down a little bit, I can go back to the mighty 90. And so I always have a core 90 that I encourage them at. And the first one's called Ultra Body Toddy. And the second one's called Prohoba Omega. Now that has all 90 nutrients in it, not at optimum levels. You can add Cal Toddy to it, which is a good product as well. Those are 2 liquids and then the soft gels. And that's really a more ideal formula. And you're probably right at that $100 point, maybe even a little bit less. And it will help people that are on a tight budget. The only fan that I'm not at, that if they go to the site and they'll ask me about, is the on-to-go pack for $87. And they said, is that the same as a Healthy Start pack that's $140, $150? And I honestly say no. It's not strong. It's a convenience pack for when you travel, but I don't even do that when I travel personally. I take the Beyond Tangy Tangerine sticks, and then I have little baggies that I put all my rest of my nutrients in, and I take my Osteo stick, and I take those, and I can be gone for a month, and I'll fill up a bag about so big. It's not that much space in my. It doesn't even equal one of Karen's shoe boxes. I mean, and she has 5 or 6 sets when she goes. So I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for that too. But it doesn't take a lot of space. It is a convenient pack. Some people do that. It's a good thing. I just looked at my notes down, and if you took the Core 90, which is the Prohoba Omega, the Ultra Body Toddy, the Cal Toddy, it's 109. And considering the price, I think that's a great price. If you take away $40 from the 109, you're at $60 to $70. That's what it is if you just take the Ultra Body Toddy and the Omega. So it is a good program and it's beneficial. Now, the last Healthy Start Pack, I'm probably talking too fast, is the Healthy Weight Loss Pack. And it's basically the 90 for life with Rejuvenate. And personally, if what I have found that if you take the Healthy Start Pack and your goal is to lose 10 pounds or less, odds on favor, you're going to lose it just taking the Healthy Start Pack. And here's this why. If you're eating a bunch of empty calories, in other words, you're eating a lot of processed foods that aren't nutrient dense food, your body's starving for those nutrients and you'll eat more. And you'll get more sugar, more carbohydrates, more of the food you really don't need, and your body stores it. You make fat and you gain weight. When you start taking the 90 for 90, your body realizes, oh, I have everything now. I don't need to eat as much. And you won't be as hungry and you will lose weight. And it's not unusual for the people that start to their first 2 or 3 months that they lose 5 pounds. Maybe lose more, maybe lose less. I never guarantee how much they're going to lose. I just said it might be a side effect that you can live with. And so that can be the case. And so if you're a person that wants to lose the 30 pounds or 40 or more, then I have them go to our new product, the GLP product that we have, because that's more targeted in that situation. And so I kind of take that one out of the loop. What I've known with Steve Wallach over the years is that if a product sells, he never discontinues it. It's only when he has to throw a bunch of it away because we as a distributors don't recommend it enough, or the supply outreaches the demand. In other words, it isn't there. And that's a disadvantage right now because the average vendor wants you to make 5,000 units at a pop or more. And if it sits on Youngevity's shelves at one of their warehouses for 6 months, they don't like it. And so they want to constantly give you fresh product. And so that's when you see products disappear. But let's say a company joins us and they have a product and they're constantly selling it. And you notice that it sticks around, but it's just like this other product that we have in ours, Osteo-fx Cal Toddy. They're a lot alike, but they both sell. So Steve Wallach doesn't get rid of it because he doesn't want the company that's joining us to feel like we're forcing our products down their throat. He keeps them there and they're available for everybody. So that's one of the big reasons why we have all these products is because of that. We have with our Canadian friends, we have some new spices and sauces companies. If you were on last Tuesday's call on the 14th, Annalicia talked about all the new products that'll be coming out this spring, and some of them sound great, but it's not the core 90. And so to me, they're one of those outside pedals, or what I call a qualifying helper. There's hamburger helper. I call it a qualifying helper because, if they're only costing $10 or $12 and they have BV at 3 or 4, and I have that customer that has 99 BV, but they want to get a commissions check, I tell them they need a qualifying helper. For me, I used to get bars of soap, but I probably have a couple of years worth of bars of soap back there. Don't need that quite as much. And everyone's kind of smiling in the background if you know what I'm talking about. So, that's how I try to get it. So let's just take a jump back, learn what's in a Healthy Start Pack, kind of learn the variations of them, learn what's in them, and know that it's the core. It's what everyone needs. If they're on a tight budget, you can start them out with just the core 90. If you're typical person starting out, healthy digestive pack is the way to go. If your gut's totally unhealthy, then you just might have take a couple enzymes of Flora and I-26 to get their gut healthy, and then get them going on the nutritional products. Now, what does this require that I haven't mentioned? It requires that you follow up and talk to your customers. Now, I do this as a business. I can tell you I always call up a week after. I can tell you I always call up 3 weeks after. And 3 weeks, I talk to them about how they feel and how they feel different. And if they say, well, this seems to happen and this seems to be doing good, and I go, good, how much of your Beyond Tangy Tangerine is left? They go, well, I got about a quarter of a bottle left. And that tells me a couple things. They're using it correctly, and we need to reorder it. And I always like to try to get their first 2 orders done within the first 30 days, so I make quick start twice, right? But if you don't call them, there's a gentleman, a VP at Youngevity, and he's in charge of retention. His name's Alex. He'll tell you that, and he has a team that literally calls people if they haven't ordered for 6 or so months to try to help you keep your people in your downline. They're not taking them away from you. To help you keep your people in your downline, they ask how things are going. They go, I don't know. They go, well, what's the biggest challenge? I've never opened the bottle. It's still on the shelf. That's the most common feedback thing. Well, if you don't call and reinforce them to take the product and it just sits on the shelf, how many bottles are you going to think they're going to let sit on the shelf before they drop down? So you have to follow up a week later to make sure they're taking the product and making the products right. Actually, I talk to them 3 days later, because once they order it, I have them call me the second they get the product and have a Sharpie on with their hand. And we go over how much they're supposed to take and write it on top of the jar. And then if it's pills, all they do is unscrew that one and screw it on the replacement jar. And it helps them rather than try to read the small print, right? And then I call them up after a week to see how they're doing. Occasionally, they might have a little flushing of their colon. We'll talk about that and things like that and see how they feel. 3 weeks, and then at least once a quarter. Now, I have a fairly large downline. I limit it to my first 3 levels. But if I get everyone in my downline to do it for their first 3 levels, then everyone has people talking. Does that work all the time? No. But do I make myself available for everybody? Yes. So there we go. We have the core 90, the inexpensive, and then the hard tissue, which is your bones and joints, your soft tissue, which is your organs. We have your blood sugar, and we have your digestive. And that's all I want my business person to focus on the first 90 days they're with the company and they feel good. And I always make myself available to do 3-way calls with them. And I think if you all do that with your newcomers, you'll have a great opportunity and great experience with Youngevity. If you just let them buy products and you let them walk out the door, then you and Youngevity spent a lot of money to get people involved in this business. Just like in the restaurant business, restaurants spend tons of money on advertisements, things like that, to get in your restaurant. But if you don't make them a great meal 10 out of 10 times, they'll find a replacement for you. If you don't help your customers with Youngevity, how to use it, what to expect, see improvement, and help them through that path, they're going to go to a different competitor because they're doing a better job than we are. And so I'll encourage all of you to reach out and touch those people and do that. So, Becca, I did it too fast, but I'm sure we got questions, or I'm sure that you have questions, and let's see what we can overcome with some of these situations.
Well, yes, we do have questions. Thank you so very much. You did a fantastic job going over the different packs and why. And I love where you had mentioned if somebody's got some major digestive issues, just focusing on the digestion with the enzymes, the Osteo-fx, the nightly essence, and the I-26. I just wanted to repeat those because those are amazing products with multiple different purposes. It's not like you have a whole bunch of overlapping ingredients that are taken at different times of the day that do wonders. Absolutely do wonders when it comes to digestive issues. So I thought that was really, something that needed to be highlighted and brought up. for all the coaches, because we do have a lot of coaches that are on this call with us today. And you're right. The majority of the people that I work with, they have a major digestive issue, whether they know it or not. So thank you so much for pointing that out and making that very clear. The next question is coming from MMAC out on YouTube, wanting to know, does Richard still formulate? And what was the last product that he helped make?
Well, I had my fingers in 3.0, which is 3 years old now. It's probably the last one. I have a couple on the drawing board. Steve's got a couple on the drawing board. You know, I think everyone kind of knows this. We're coming out with some products that will help the kids develop more muscle, a creatine product. It's on the drawing board. I think it's actually been ordered, and I'm excited. I didn't have that much of a part on it, even though Steve and I have been talking about such a product for a long time. More Tangy lately has been doing some of the designs with Steve down in San Diego. You know, when I was, or in Scottsdale, when I was with Steve in San Diego all the time, and we were sitting in front of each other, we would bounce ideas back and forth. But you know, I'm 1,000 miles away from him now, but I got to get down and spend more time with him. I have 4 or 5 products on the drawing board. Whether they come to tuition, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I could tell you, in all fairness, if anyone thinks that they can come up with an idea, design a product, find a vendor, have them make it, create a label, put it on a bottle. If you think it's a 1-month experiment, knock yourself out. Because I can tell you, the first BTT took 2.5 years to come to table with it. And so, because we had to figure out how to make it, let alone actually working with a vendor to actually do that. So it's never a quick situation. With Steve, taste means a lot. Taste doesn't mean that much to me, especially if you taste some of the original products I designed. But taste is important, and so you have this going back and forth. It's too sweet. It's not sweet enough. It's too bitter. It's not bitter enough. You know, in those types of situations. And so it takes a long time to come up with these products. And so if you have an idea, or if you have a question, why don't we have? Feel free to send me an email, and we'll see what we can make happen. Just don't expect it to be tomorrow.
Right. Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Sam has a question. What books outline the times he and his colleagues sued the FDA? And I think the Wallach Revolution is the approved biography of Dr. Wallach that does go through that. And good news, I have reached out to Jonathan E. Mord, and we'll be having him on the Daily with Doc and Becca show soon. So I'm excited to have Esquire Jonathan E. Mord on with us to talk about the times that Dr. Wallach has, in fact, sued the FDA, where Jonathan was his representation. So that's going to be cool. Can you recall any of the other books that mention, is it in Dead Doctors Don't Lie as well? It's been a while since I read that one.
Since it has his biography in the front, I'm sure it does. I think Immortalium has some of it in there too. You know, when we talk about suing the FDA, that's actually step 3 of the process. So first you fill out a petition on a health claim and provide all reasonable science to it. And there's a great picture that was in the corporate office of an employee that we've had by the name of Chantel. She was really a great individual, but she wasn't that tall. I want to say she was 4'10", and she has her elbow like this, standing next to the stack of science that we had for the health claim for selenium, and page by page, thousands of pages. And we provided that to the FDA. Well, the first thing that they do is they review it, and they weed out what they don't consider reasonable science. And what their definition of reasonable science is that you can't say a multivitamin help prevent certain cancers. Let's just throw that word out. because they're going to want to see that if you want to make a health claim for selenium, then you got to show the science that only selenium is the only variance involved, that everything else you can toss out. Well, they would take those 1,000 pages and then bring it down to 10 or 15 and then say it's not a reasonable amount of science. We're going to say no to your health claim. So then you have a right to petition back saying, yes, but there's this, this, and this, and you need to consider it again. Then they turn around and say no. And Jonathan's involved with all these procedures. By the way, I've known Jonathan for 30 years as well. And he is one of the best constitutional lawyers I've ever known in my life. And if you ever get a chance to listen to the man talk about the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, it'll blow your mind away, the passion the man has about that part of the law. But besides that, then we have to sue the FDA to force them to accept the petition. And then quite often they'll turn around and say, okay, you can have petition. They'll tell the courts that, but then they won't allow us to do it. So then we have to sue them again to force them to accept it. So it's this back and forth process. Now, here's the thing that's shocking about this. So we get a health claim that says that lycopene is good for your heart. Well, that's the active ingredients in tomatoes, right? And everyone knows that that's good for your heart. We were denied the health claim for lycopene. But when we made the petition, there was a family that was politically involved. You can start guessing the last name. It starts with H, that also owns a tomato company. And they joined what they call join the petition with us. In other words, they're saying, we're not going to provide any of the science, but we agree with them. And because of their political, he was going to be running for vice president, they got the health claim that tomatoes will be beneficial to your heart, but not lycopene. So it's a massively political situation. The other thing that's crazy about it is that, let's say that we showed the EFAs will help prevent certain heart conditions, and we got that one. Anybody that sells an EFA product within the guidelines of omega-3 can make the same health claim. In other words, we don't get I won't use the word monopoly because that's a bad word. We don't get the soloed situation that says that our EFA will help prevent cardiovascular disease. Anybody can use it. So there really isn't a financial benefit to push health claims through. They cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of lawyer fees and court fees and petition fees and all the other fees. And yes, it's good for mankind. That's why Dr. Wallach does it. But most businesses goes, it doesn't make good business sense to do it. So of all the health claims that are allowed in nutritions over the last 20 years, there's only about 12 or 13 out there. And Dr. Wallach's involved in more than half of them. And so we have a great honor to respect a man that has the morals and the personal responsibility that says, hey, I have the science. We need to make the government say yes to this. The other thing that always blows my mind away is the government, after having all this science pushed down their throat and sued and forced to it, seem to always manage, when they finally publish the health claim, to take full credit for it. And that's just the way they are. But if we can get more of that information out, it makes it more enjoyable. So when she starts advertising, that Becca starts advertising that Jonathan's going to be on, please, please, please jam these lines, crash Facebook. You're going to really enjoy it.
Yes, Jonathan does a great job. And I have done some interviews with him in the past on a previous show, Better by the Minute Life show, where we talked about some of his books, some of his experiences with Dr. Wallach. He's just a brilliant, brilliant man. And I was honored to spend Sunday with his wife, Cheryl Morley, as we were doing a health event at an expo in Philadelphia. Another question. So I had one of my coaches reach out to me last night saying, have you ever heard of Beyond Tangy Tangerine tablets raising somebody's blood pressure? So you had shared with us before the show, and I want to make sure that we share with it here, that yes, it is possible, because why, Richard?
So occasionally a high concentration of B vitamins will cause a temporary increase in your blood pressure, typically 30 minutes to 2 hours, and then it will come back down. So it's not just limited to BTT. We have it also in the tablets. We have it also in a lot of our liquids too. It's not unusual. Most time people will get used to it after a couple of months, and it'll be a non-reoccurring situation. But yes, it is possible. But it isn't, when you say raise your blood pressure, we're talking about 5, 7 points. We're not talking about 40 points or something like this. It's just a few points. And so I'm happy because he must have something like I do on my desk. I don't know, maybe I'm strange. A blood pressure cuff that I have on my desk because I periodically will check my blood pressure. I'm glad he's taking care of himself and not just depending on the doctor to tell him things.
Absolutely. And we're all about self-care, self-monitoring, especially. So this is something, Richard, whenever somebody's on a lot of pharmaceuticals and they start taking a supplement program, I tell them they need to monitor at home what it is that they're taking that pharmaceutical for. So whether it's blood pressure, blood sugar, those are tests that you can do at home with a blood pressure cuff or a glucometer to make sure that you're monitoring yourself at home. That way, as the supplementation starts doing, it's not the supplementation, it's the body utilizing the supplementation in bringing the body into homeostasis where it's supposed to be. You can work with your doctor to help reduce your medications. Is there
I
anything
want to
that
do
you
one
would
thing.
add?
I'm just going to run around the corner here. Now, most people don't have things like I have in my office. But this guy, you can
Physician's desk
go to the
reference.
library and read it. Now, this is just about every drug that is out there on the market. And the print's a little fine and it's a little thick. But you know, when I tell people when they say, oh, my doctor says I have this prescription and I don't need to take it, which is usually a polite way of saying I don't want to take it. It costs too much money, but we'll go with it. I say, go to the library and look your drug up. I'll hold it close to my chest so it doesn't focus out. And you can tell I haven't purchased the book in a long time. But read what the side effects of the drugs are because it has to be listed in there, right? And see if I can give you a product that has maybe raises your blood pressure a couple points for a few weeks, which would you rather do? And 9 times out of 10, they'll look up some of the side effects on it. Or how many times have you listened to watch TV and there's a drug commercial on there and it's a 30-second commercial. In the last 10 seconds, the guy's talking 3 times faster and he's listing all the possible side effects. And at the end they go, and this is in all of them, right? And if that's what you want to do, I'm not the person to tell you you can't. It just doesn't make sense. Sometimes I think, I think our healthcare is too expensive. I think drugs, they're making an outlandish profit on them. But sometimes I wish that our insurance wouldn't cover them totally for free because they're willing to take it with all those side effects so it doesn't cost them any money out of their pocket. But what it is costing you is if you have any of those side effects. And to me,
Well,
our products are a lot safer.
by far, hands down, safer. And when you listen carefully, it usually says the possibility of stroke, heart attack, or death.
Yeah, no big deal.
Just like, and people still take them because insurance pays for it. But, to each their own. I wish everyone the best. But most of all, my hope and prayer with this program is that we allow people to understand how empowered they are to do things on their own to help themselves.
Becca, I just want to apologize. My cat's telling me he wants something. And if you'd let me pick him up, I'd show it to you. But it's my 29-year-old cat.
Oh, that's okay.
So if you hear a meow, that's him in the background saying
That's
either I
okay.
want to go outside or water. You gonna come see
Not
me?
a problem at all.
Oh.
We love
Anyway.
animals. Did he just change his mind? He's camera shy, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't like to get picked up as much because he's a little bit older. I'm sure he's got arthritis in his body and whatnot. And so being picked up isn't a truly exciting thing for him. So when I reach out with my hands, he basically goes, "No, I'm a cat. I'm going to do my own thing." And he's over standing in front of the door, which means he wants to go outside.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, we have one more question. We'll try to make this fast. 29. He has
29.
extended his average lifespan of
Yeah,
his
typically
fellow
cats are
cats.
12 to 15.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Keely, go ahead and unmute yourself. What question do you have, Richard, for Richard today?
Actually, I got a couple of them for you. I have a lot of senior citizens, well, actually 3 right now. They're sort of choking on the EFAs. What do you suggest in reference to size, and can you speak to why they are the size they are?
Well, when we sell Smart FX is a third of the size, so you can switch them over to Smart FX because we want them to take at least 4 grams a day, and 4 grams a day is basically 4 of those EFAs. It's actually 4.8 grams on the EFA plus, and it's just a volume thing. I could tell you the things I try not to tell my grandkids. If they take the EFA and they play with it in their mouth, saliva starts to break down the gelatin and becomes much slipperier. It's not a word.
Slippery. Much more slippery.
Slippery, and they'll be able to swallow them much easier. If that seems to be a problem, and they're my age, they've probably got cod liver oil when they're young, they could always punch a hole in it and squeeze the oil out.
Well, I
But
tried doing that myself, and I can't stand the taste of it. That was something I wasn't willing to do. I mean, I tried it. I think it was Becca that said that somebody chews them, and I'm like, oh no. I tried chewing those, and it gave me the gag reflex, and the gag reflex did you know what? So, how many of the Smart FX are you recommending? Per 100 pounds?
That was one of my designs, and I don't remember the exact amount of how many milligrams are in it right anymore. Hold on. Go ahead and ask your second question, unless that is your second question.
No, the other one is there, when we're doing ORAC ratings, we're looking at the maintenance and prevention, rebuilding, repair, and then the recovery and critical and chronic. I have a lot of individuals who are critical and chronic, so I go over 100,000 to 300,000 on ORAC ratings. Do you have a chart on all of the products that Youngevity makes that are the major protocols that have ORAC ratings?
So no, because the main lab we were working with caught on fire and they didn't reopen during COVID. So we've kind of stepped away from that. But I could tell you the ones that are super high are all your BTT powders and your BTT tablet. I would want them to take 9 a day of the Smart FX.
9 a day to equal to 4.8 grams?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And it's not quite 9.8, but there's finances involved in there too.
Okay.
I would tell them play with their food more and let, play
Okay,
with it
got
in
you.
their mouth.
On the ORAC rating, you said that stepped away from. What does you stepped away from? I didn't understand what that was
So
referring to.
ORAC testing, we have an outside lab do it, and it's over $1,000 a product now. But the original lab that did it was back east, and that came up with the original designs. They're no longer with us. They closed because I think A, fire, and B, pandemic changed a lot of things. And so we have to go to other labs, and we just don't have a relationship developing that we want to do that. I think the last one Steve did was on 3.0,
Okay.
and then the tablets. And then we started to retest 2.0 and found out that 2.0 was actually higher than what we thought. We went ultra conservative because we didn't think people would believe us. And it's up there. So all of those are up around the 100,000 mark or
Gotcha.
more.
And then last but not least, in reference to the ZRadical product and the Fucoid Z, if you I've had a few customers ask me about it, because they're not feeling like they're getting the detail that they need in order to justify that it will address everything. What do you have to say about Fucoid Z and ZRadical in reference to more critical things, specifically like your lymphodemas, your different kinds of, the C word, in
Cancer.
reference to that, because we know it puts people into autophagy. So I'll let you go from there.
So I always, because I'm not an MD, so I cannot diagnose, prescribe, or treat a disease, I have them go to pubmed.gov, and which is the federal US government medical library. And I'll type in their health challenge that they're concerned about and Fucoitin, and start looking at the research papers, and maybe read some of the abstracts, which are free. Some of the papers they charge on if you read the whole paper, but unless you're like me, it doesn't really serve a purpose. But if you just start reading the abstracts and say help with certain percentage, help with certain percentage, help with certain percentage, if there's over 50 studies that say that it helped percentage, it should overcome some of the challenges. I can tell you with the active ingredient Fucoitins, there can be thousands. And so I send them to the source that talks about it, that's independent and not related to us. And then they can come to us, and then they'll start asking, where do you get your Fucoitin from? And do you have all three styles? And the answer to that is it comes from the southern hemisphere down by New Zealand and Australia. And yes, all three styles in both products.
Okay, gotcha. I have done that, and then they were just asking me if there was a chart that basically outlined all of the health challenges that ZRadical and Fucoid would address. And that was outside of those 3,000 plus studies.
Because the company isn't a doctor either, and they would consider that diagnosing.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Keely and Richard. AJ is wanting to know, his question says, what is the most important health claim YGY has earned? Now, has Youngevity earned the health claims, or is it the nutrients themselves?
Well, it's nutrient driven, and it's primarily Dr. Wallach, because they wouldn't really do it for a company, but he's an MD as well as 2 other PhDs. So it's more him that earned them. Which one's most important? Hey, they're all life-saving. I mean, how can you say anything when it's help prevent certain heart diseases, help prevent certain cancers, help prevent birth defects in babies, help prevent, bone challenges. I guess heart and brain challenges are the most important, but to me, they're all pretty equal. I mean, they're all life-changing situations. And so I can't put my finger on one. Selenium is probably the one that sticks out most in my mind, because I actually went back and listened to the arguments in front of the Court of Appeal. And I tried to get into Supreme Court, but I don't know if people realize it. Supreme Court, the audience, or the number of people that aren't lawyers that can sit in, is basically about 12 people. And so it's not really open to the public when they make the arguments. And so I didn't get to see that, but I went into Court of Appeals, which is kind of an interesting experience in itself. But I can't put my finger on one, but I would probably do EFAs and selenium would be my 1 and 2.
All right. Thank you so very much. And hey, we're going to let you get out of here on time so that you can let the cat out. If I could have our co-hosts up on the screen with us so that we can say thank you. Thank you, everyone who makes this show possible. Thank you so much, Sherry, as she's part of our technical team, coming on an hour early. Her and Ruth Ellen and AJ, when he gets up here, making sure that everything is set up so that we can stream live and have it ready for everybody to plug into on so many different platforms, and then see it later too. So thank you so much, Sherry and Ruth Ellen and AJ. We have Marilyn, who is also part of our Zoom team here. She's doing amazing dictation, putting information into the chat that is only available while you're live in the Zoom. And folks, if you'd like to be part of our live audience, we are here Monday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Make sure that you are signed into your Zoom account. And the first time you visit that, you will need to register and then be put on our approved list. So, Ruth Ellen.
Did you say Monday, Thursday, and Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
I should have said Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's what is in my mind. So if it came out Monday, I was wrong. But it is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thank you so much. And we have Albert joining us from South Africa as he is letting people in to the Zoom. Thank you so much, Albert, for being our gatekeeper. But we do have a Monday show, Ruth Ellen. It's just not at noon Pacific time. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. Pacific time. And that can be caught by going to any of the different platforms or doing a search for Pharmacist Ben Bites. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Daily with Doc and Becca channel so that you can get the notification that they have gone live. And that is Coach AJ with Pharmacist Ben, as they do a whole hour talking about things that are in the news and questions people have. Thank you so much, Richard, for being on with us today. We greatly appreciate your time, your knowledge, your wisdom. And as you've been with the company the longest, we greatly appreciate you spending your time with us as well. And
Thank you.
You are very welcome. And folks, thank you for taking this hour, investing into your own health, and not only to help yourself, but to help others. And if you would like to get more information about what we do, you can visit dailywithdoc.com. We also have the rootnotfruit.com, where we're talking about getting to the root of poor health, not just addressing the symptoms, which would be the fruit. And then also the triangleofdisease.com. And if anybody would like to send Richard a question, you can reach him through email, richard@youngevity.com. And folks, if you have questions that you'd like to present on the phone or on the show, you can email us questions@dailywithdoc.com. and get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there is no one to thank, we do have a call team standing by at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. Go to our website, dailywithdoc.com. Make sure that you're signed up for our email list, as we have put together the food diary, food intolerance diary, which also includes the good foods, bad foods list. So if you're on our email list, we are going to get that emailed out to you soon. So until next time, we'll see you tomorrow, folks, here on Daily with Doc and Becca. Bye for now. Oh, Ruth Ellen, was there something? Oh, you already did that. Corrected me on the time. Thank you. Bye. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in Pathology, Naturopathic Doctor.